but I actually travel the world to proclaim that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Now, it's pretty amazing, because as I travel, I've traveled the U.S. Let's see if this will work now. How about this one? Can you hear me? I've been over 1,000 nails that sticking to the road. They placed it on my chest, and then they actually laid a cover on top of that, and then they put a 400-pound telephone pole, which he pushed down on top of me. I had over 600 pounds on top of it. The next night, we did a show in El Paso, Texas, and I ran through 650 pounds of ice. 650 pounds.
Is that better? Somebody's working on us today. I think Satan does not want me to talk because he's giving us problems. All this stuff that I've done is pretty amazing to me because I've been a bodyguard of some of the greatest Christian musicians in the world. Mercy Me, Amy Grant, Salvador, others like that. Now, you might think that all of a sudden somebody might rush the stage, but with people like me out there, I got to actually protect the people that I was bodyguard for. Pretty amazing, huh? But I've got to tell you, the second half of my life is so glamorous that the first kind of scares me. Because when I was 5 years old, my mother passed away very suddenly. I remember my brothers and sisters and I standing on the front porch, and we were waving goodbye to my mother, which my dad had loaded up in the car because she became very, very sick. We knew that we would see her in a couple of hours. She would be back at home with us. She would be chasing us around. We would be playing hide and go seek. But we got a phone call about an hour later, and my mother had actually passed away and died on the way to the hospital. Now, there was 5 of us. My dad never failed to take us anywhere but church. He kept us in church. He kept us close to God, which helped, because when I was 8 years old, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, which helped me. But being 8 years old and not having a mother, I was still very mad. I was very angry. I tried drugs. I tried alcohol. I was in gangs. I ran from the law. I was a hoodlum. I was a thug. And because I was mad, I thought that I was above the law. Nobody could touch me because I had nothing to lose. I already lost my mother. She passed away. And I was missing her very, very badly. By the time I got to middle school, my 7th grade year, I actually had such a bad day at school that I went home. I got my dad's rifle out, and I actually was going to take my own life. But something told me inside, don't do this, because in the Bible it says that if you commit suicide, if you take your own life, you can't get into heaven. So I would never, ever get to see my mother again if I did that. I finally made it through school, barely, making terrible grades, making terrible decisions. I didn't have very many friends because I didn't trust anybody. My mother had already left me, so I didn't want anybody to hurt me ever again, so I never got close to anybody. As I went on with my life, I got me a full-time job. I was paying my own way. I was buying my own cars. I was living in my own house. And I remember going to work early one morning, and before noon, before 12 o'clock that day at work, something really, really bad would happen to me. I was unloading a huge beef truck. And as I unloaded that meat truck, as I pulled, because I thought I was really strong, I pulled that big pallet of meat, 1,200 pounds, and I heard my back snap. I broke my back and I hit the ground. I couldn't walk. They rushed me to the emergency room, the local hospital. The doctor said, well, you're not going to recover from this. You're going to be in a wheelchair. You might also maybe even make it to a walker, but you're not going to be normal. You're not going to ever function and walk again. 3 surgeries later, I found myself flat in the bed. I had a body cast from here to here. And I had to do every single thing in that bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I had to eat. I had to do everything. If you can imagine, I had to do everything in bed, and we won't go there. But I was in that bed for 6 months. Now, God and I kept visiting with each other. I was doing all the talking because I was sitting there and I would cuss God. Why me? Why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to you? Why are you doing this? I am Daryl Williams. Help me out of this situation. Get me out of this bed. I can't do this anymore. Now, the doctor already told me to go to a short-term school, learn computers, because it would go really well with my government check that I was going to get the rest of my life, because I wasn't going to be able to walk. I proved him wrong. I got up. It took me 18 long months. That's almost 2 years of rehab. I remember rehabbing. I got to walk across my living room, which wasn't very big, because we didn't have a whole lot of money, and back 1 time a day. The next day, I walked down my driveway, out my yard, and back. The next day, I went down the street and back. Now, I was on one of these old person walkers. I was still a young man, but I was on one of these old walkers. And as I took every single step, I got stronger. Not only in my muscles, but I got stronger here. Because I had a plan. I had a plan that I was going to get through life, and I was going to make it. I was going to make a name for myself. The doctor kept saying, you'll never be normal. Get you one of those little electric wheelchairs, because you'll be in that the rest of your life. And without really actually being rude to that man, I told him he was crazy. I told him that I would succeed. I would walk again. So as I rehabbed, as I hit the gym and started lifting weights, I started becoming stronger and stronger here. I was still mad because my mother had left me some years back. She died. But I was a Christian, and I knew in my heart that I would someday see her in heaven. I remember going through my local university in Texas where I graduated. Used to be a teacher and a coach, by the way. So I'm really very at home here because I love students. As I was walking through that university, I just mouthed the words. I said, Mom, I miss you something fierce. I miss you so much. And all of a sudden, it was like I heard God tell me that everything was going to be all right. Things would be fine. He was so proud of me. I never made it to class that day. I went home and I fell on my knees, and God and I had a really, really good conversation that morning. I prayed to Him. I listened. I wasn't mad at Him anymore. Now, long story short, as I kept working out and getting stronger, my size started getting bigger. And I kid with my brother here. We walked down the streets of Hong Kong these last few days, and he's learned that he walks behind me because I'm not rude. I have a huge heart. I love people. But for some weird reason, people get out of my way. I don't know what it is, but I can walk in a straight line, and I'm almost like Moses because I part the people, and I can walk through. Now, as I walk through, I notice people looking at me because there's something different about me. Yes, I bench 500 pounds. Yes, I leg press over 1,200 pounds. But there's something different about me, because I have Jesus Christ on my shoulder. He's in my heart. He's in my mind. Now, I've got to tell you also, being this size here, I go into the United States prison systems, and I actually go in to visit the prisoners to let them know that they're not forgotten and they are forgiven for whatever they've done. I remember one time I was sitting talking to a young man, and I was telling him about Jesus Christ and the love that this Jesus, my God, could give him. And as I looked over here, there was a man from about right here to there, and I turned around and I said, hello. I kept talking to this young man here. I turned around and he was right here. He got closer. And I said, hello. And I turned around and started talking to the young man again. And as I turned back around, this man was right here. Okay, he reminded me, I don't know if y'all know that movie Hannibal Lecter, where he ate people. This guy reminded me of that guy right there. He freaked me out. He made me scared. But as I started talking to him, he poked me in my chest right here. And he said, why are you here? And I lost my words. I thought, what does he want to know from me? What do I tell him? So I said, I'm here to bless you. It says in the Bible that Jesus even went into the prison system, and it said, I visited you in prison. So I turned and I said, we've come to bless you. And he poked me in my chest again. And he said, why are you here? And so as I turned this way, because I can hit harder with this fist right here, because he and I were about to go get a throwdown if he poked me in my chest again. Okay? I don't know what happened, but I got warm all over my body. My face turned red, and all of a sudden, I said in one breath, I'm here to tell you about a man named Jesus Christ who died on the cross for my sins. And that's